5-2.
There you go.
We are getting underway, but of course some safety announcements first. Safety is very important to us here at Shoreline, so heads up, phones down. Stay hydrated. If you are thirsty, that means you're dehydrated, so please grab some water from Lainey. She's also got soda back there, lemonade, she's got chips and pretzels. She does have cocktails. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Larger than 2 or 4 feet across. The deepest point's about 25 feet deep, average about 20 or so. For a long time, this was a toxic industrial river. 1679. They were trying to find a central route through the Americas, and the Chicago River did just that. If you go up the south branch of the Chicago River, you can actually get to the Des Plaines River, to the Mississippi River, and the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico. So we've always been a central hub by water or by all sorts of other things. Like by land, we have Amtrak Station, and by O'Hare, we have O'Hare International Airport, off and on one of the busiest airports in the world. Now the highway we just passed under is Lakeshore Drive. It's one of our major highways that wraps around the outer edge of the city, and to this day, it is one of my favorite views of the city. We have our beautiful skyline on one side, because we like her beautiful buildings, and they actually stay put and stay together. So beginning of the year, she announced yes, she's coming back to build 3 brand new towers called Vista Towers. They too are very wavy and will be right on the corner of Millennium Park. They're aimed to be half hotel and half residential. On the right hand side, on the left-hand side is a triangle-shaped building with alternating blue and dark blue glass. This triangle-shaped building is Sears Tower by architect Harry Weiss and Associates. Now, Harry Weiss, he loves nautical themes, he loves boating. So a lot of his buildings have these triangle shapes as if they are sails on a boat. Now, the cool part was built back in 2009 by Jeannie Gang and Associates. And Aqua is actually the 3rd tallest building in the world, designed by a female-led architecture firm. So that's pretty cool. No 2 balconies are the same. Everyone has a unique floor plan. On the right-hand side is this stone building with the yellow onion dome at the top. That is Intercontinental Hotel. Now that onion dome up there used to be a blimp dock. Yes, they thought that in the future everyone would travel by their own personal blimp, much like people have personal jets now. To be on the very forefront of that technology, they installed this blimp dock. Now, after they spent the time and money to do that, well, the great Hindenburg disaster happened. People loved Wrigley gum, they just hated Wrigley soap, so they built an empire on a happy accident. The building itself, covered in that beautiful white glazed terracotta, which is very sensitive, that building has to be hand washed every 5 to 10 years, so you cannot power wash that building, you will destroy it. The Silver Tall Tower directly in front of the vessel here is our 2nd tallest building here in Chicago, 96 stories tall, 1,389 feet. This tower, you may have noticed, has a very ambiguous name. So I don't know if we could guess the name of this documentary. Everyone knows that. Now in Marina City, it was designed to be a city within a city, so it has all of your modern conveniences in the same building. There are, of course, shops and restaurants. There is a bowling alley, an ice skating rink, a theater, which is now the House of Blues, and of course your own marina. We'll see. Of the Wrigley, so that in the skyline he is fitting in, so it's exactly for that location. It is half hotel, half residential, shops and restaurants, and a couple of rooftop terraces. On the right hand side is this plain black building. This is AMA Plaza by That's a very frugal skyscraper. It is literally just steel holding up the building, glass holding it in, and that's it. There is no decoration, there is no filigree, just what you need for a skyscraper and nothing more. Mies van der Rohe is the one who coined the term less is more, and when it comes to his skyscrapers, that is definitely the case. Now, AMA Plaza is the last building that Mies van der Rohe did before he died. And white. If we see any other massive Art Deco buildings, usually by that same firm. We can tell it is Art Deco by some key characteristics, like it is stone clad, it has that limestone exterior, recessed ribbon windows which draw your eye up, and loves height and verticality, and showrooms, so you can get a lot of shopping done at Merchandise Mart. The building itself, 2 square city blocks, so 2 blocks long and 2 blocks deep. 4.6 million gross square feet altogether. There are 7 miles of hallways. And up until just a couple years ago, that building had its own zip code, 60654. Where we're on right now branches off into the north branch to the right, which is mostly residential. If we were to follow the north branch all the way down, one into the suburbs empties back out into Lake Michigan. And as I mentioned, the south branch to the left, if you were to follow the south branch all the way down, actually empties into the Des Plaines River into the Mississippi River, and the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico. So yes, from this point, we could get to the Gulf of Mexico. That would take us 2.5 to 3 weeks. We do not have that kind of time, so we're not going to the Gulf of Mexico today, unfortunately. And there's lots of new development here on Wolf Point. Less than a year's time. Most of these spaces are half commercial and half residential. Wolf Point Tower West to the right is actually the smallest of what's going to be 2 more additional towers here. They're going to have a 70-story tower, an additional one 98 stories tall. This new 98-story tall building will be knocking Trump Tower out of second tallest building in Chicago by 2 floors. So we're very excited about the development here on Wolf Point. The Wolf Point that is just a happy accident. This is really the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, so it has absolutely nothing to do with architecture, but it's an easy way to remember that style. On the right-hand side, we have this super massive Art Deco building. Someone is losing that view, and that's their friends across the river with that curving facade of River Bend directly to the left. Now, as the name implies, River Bend bends with the river. It's got that cool curving facade. And as you can see, the building itself is really quite narrow. It's a small plot of land they have to build on. So to optimize views, they've all under construction. The building just in front of them on the left-hand side, this pink building with lots of holes missing out of it, some guys hanging off to the side there. This is Fulton House. It is the oldest building on the tour, built in 1908. This was originally a cold storage warehouse, or a giant refrigerator where we kept our meat from the Union stockyards. If you look at the balconies there, you can see the walls are cameras ready if you don't have them out already. This my little friend. It's a great photo op of our main branch of the Chicago River, a beautiful view of our city. So I'm going to give you guys just a moment to enjoy that view and to take some photos. And next we're going to explore the South Branch, so enjoy the view. Highway, meant to look like an aerial view of the highway, like trucks and cars and trucks and cars and traffic. You can kind of see that, right? Which is super nice. When you're relaxing out on your balcony, you can evoke these soothing effects of being in traffic. And everybody loves that. Just like that Aqua building we saw with those wavy balconies, this is another creative balcony building, using balconies for the aesthetics instead of just the utility. On the right-hand side is a stone Art Deco building, aluminum statue at the very top. That is the Board of Trade, originally where we sold grain futures. That's where you sell grain before you've even grown it. So who is the statue at the top? That is the Roman goddess of grain, Ceres, like cereal, because of our grain futures. So that's a good visual right there of why we have these double-decker bridges. That's our green line going around the loop. You hear a lot of locals call the downtown area the loop. It's because the train goes around it in a loop. Kind of self-explanatory, but there you are. So as I said, we pass under about 20 bridges on the tour, but we have the most moving bridges in the world, 37 altogether. They open up on both Wednesdays and Saturdays to allow boat traffic to come through here. They're called bascule trunnion bridges. They're pretty cool. They have this counterweight system at the base. So when that drops down, the bridge goes from completely horizontal to completely vertical in under 1 minute. By the time they block off traffic, open the bridge, and close it, usually 5 minutes or under, so it happens pretty quickly. As I mentioned, both Wednesdays and Saturdays to allow boat traffic to come through here.
good then. I don't know until you come. Good thing. Yeah, that's hard. I don't want to see something bad.
If you press it,
With my friend.
sense of humor is dry, as I mentioned. Now what's really interesting about the building is that the whole second portion, the lower level, the backwards L, is actually built on top of switching tracks. Now with switching tracks, there is no room to put support columns down. The train tracks are too close together. So then what's supporting that end of the building from below? Nothing. There's nothing underneath this end of the building. It's all being held suspended from above by a cantilever truss system. That truss, but they left it exposed, and I'm very glad they did. It helps me illustrate my point. Also meant to look very similar to our bridges, which we're very fond of. We'll talk about our bridges a little bit later on. The bank, it looks a lot like a cash register. They might be trying to say something kind of subtle about our banks, but I can't really know what, so we're just gonna let that be for now. If you look to the right in this opening here, you can see this inspired by nature. So the inspiration for this building was a serpent. He wanted it to snake along the river here, originally wanting there to be two parts, but only the one was realized. 1973, when the Sears Tower was built, this was them playing with that steel box modernism design and the way that it's a super tall skyscraper, so that's them playing with the shape. This is the first time we attempted bundled tubing design, invented by Fosler Khan, that same guy responsible for the X's that we saw at the Mid-America Commodity Exchange. Bundled tubing design invented here in Chicago for the Sears Tower, same technology they're using for super tall skyscrapers of the world. Now from 1970, on the right-hand side is this stop-start balcony building in gray and dark gray. Us docents have been calling that the Morse Code building. We think it's appropriate. I'm sure there are lots of kids on this boat right now who don't know what Morse code is, so go look that up. So this is what it's really doing, is contextualizing its environment, its area on Congress Parkway. That is 311 South Wacker. It is the tallest building with just an address. Now, we don't like that. We like to give things cute nicknames, and this building is no exception. So some people call it the Birthday Cake Building. Some people call it the White Castle Building. If you look all the way at the top, you'll see the silver cylinder inside of that crown. That's actually a brilliant light, turns on every single night, shoots up into the sky. But when 311 South Wacker was first completed back in 1990, that beam of light shooting up into the sky was stay hydrated. On the right-hand side is this green curving building. This is one of Chicago's very favorite buildings, as well as one of my own. This is 333 West. These guys, the Pez Dispenser Hall of Fame. Right, because they kind of look like giant Pez dispensers. In attendance, we have Montgomery Ward, Woolworth, Marshall Field, as well as many other mustachioed gentlemen. Those were commissioned by Joseph P. Kennedy to pay homage to our merchant princes. Chicago is known as a city of broad shoulders, the city pain bottle. How inconspicuous is that? Now the gold at the very top is real. That is 24 karat gold leaf at the top of that building. When the sun strikes that real gold, there is nothing like it, which is why they directly in front of us here. This marks Michigan Avenue. This is the bridge that was raised last summer and we couldn't get it down for 6 hours, so you can see where that was causing some problems here in Chicago. Now if you go north up Michigan Avenue, you will see the Water Tower, the last remaining thing from the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. Water Tower Place, that multi-story mall with the American Girl store, as well as many, many other. And the John Hancock is north up Michigan Avenue. This is the Tribune Tower, built in 1925 by architects Howells and Hood. Done in a French cathedral style, it is known as of monuments from around the world. Pieces of like the Taj Mahal, the Great Wall of China, the Alamo, the Berlin Wall. You can go check them out for free. No, I don't know how the Chicago Tribune got pieces of monuments. That sounds kind of illegal. But they're in the building now and no one's getting them off every hour on the hour, and has this beautiful arc of water that goes all the way across the river.